All right. Good morning, everybody, with From Rock Bottom to Badass. We're here with my next guest. I'm pretty excited to meet her. Her name is Maria Grove. So Maria, tell everybody, who are you?
Oh, wow. I am Maria Grove. I am a mom. I'm a wife. Um, I'm an EMT. I am, I work for a hospital in Connecticut. I own a small company of home organizing company. I'm a home organizer. I'm a professional organizer. I am the mom of a non-binary kiddo who is also who is an LGBTQ kiddo. So I am I'm everybody. I'm living my life, being the best mom I can be to everybody.
Oh, that was a beautiful intro. I just adore you already. So we've already established that you identify with having a rebirth story or recovery journey. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, so I started out my undergraduate career working towards becoming an FBI agent. And I
Agent.
Yeah, so I was an undergraduate student in anti-terrorism, and this was before 9/11 happened. And I was recruited into the FBI. And about 2 weeks into the FBI, I became medically ineligible because I had a medical condition that required me to take pretty heavy narcotics. I have something called endometriosis, which is associated with my cycle, and I have really terrible pain when I get my period. And so I had to take some pretty terrible narcotics to get through that. And so they don't give you a gun when you have to take drugs like that. So I left that career, and I kind of struggled my way through some careers. I did some, work. I worked in insurance and everything. I got married. I had kids, which I was thrilled to have. I really, I was told I would never have children because of the endometriosis. So I was really blessed to have children. And then my mom got sick, and she had cancer, and I took care of her, and she died very quickly. She died after 3 months and 9 days of being diagnosed. And after she passed, I threw myself into nonprofit work, and that really set my career path. So for the next 9 years, I worked in nonprofits all around Connecticut. I ran nonprofits having to do with cancer. And so I worked with all sorts of organizations. I ran organizations, but I just threw myself into cancer work. And then but during the course of my mom's illness, when she was ill about 9 years ago, I was walking through the halls of the hospital one night at about midnight, and I saw a sign that said, become a nurse. And it had all the requirements for becoming a nurse. And I said, that's it. That's why our family is going through this process, so that I can become a nurse. Like this is my calling. Like, this is it. And it took me 9 years, but I became an EMT.
Wow.
This year, I changed careers. I became an EMT, and now I'm in trauma medicine. I work for a hospital, a level 1 trauma center hospital. I do trauma medicine. And I have, like, it is a complete 180. Seriously, I used to sip coffee at my desk, listen to classical music, and in my office, and, run a nonprofit. And now I run around with lead PPE on and stitch up people's arms from gunshot wounds. I mean, that's seriously what I do now. So it could not be farther from where I started.
Is that I could feel the energy when you started talking about what you do now. Like I could feel
Yeah.
the excitement and the passion that's behind what you do now that wasn't there. You're telling me about running the nonprofit. It's like, you love this.
Right. Well, the nonprofits came from a place of sorrow. I did it to honor my mom, and I felt like I had a good skill set to do it. I was organized. I was passionate about it, and it was a way to honor my mom. It was fundraising, it was event planning, that kind of thing. But it came from a place of sorrow. It kept me grieving really for a long time. And this job is so much different than that.
This one's for you.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow, that's incredible. Okay, so that's quite the rebirth story. Can you tell me, you've already kind of told me what you've been through that led to that. Going through that process of having to, I guess, kind of refigure out who you are and what you want, and going through that grieving process and going through, I guess, the illness, what did it do to you? Like, how did it affect you or change you as a person?
Yeah, it made me stronger. It broke me down first. It definitely broke me down, but it definitely made me stronger. It made me who I am now. I think that I um can see now, especially with my patients, I have a lot more empathy for for what they're going through at the hospital. We had a patient who was in the hospital for fatigue, and it turns out she did have cancer. And so, I have been there. I have been there when we thought my mom was having a stroke, and it turned out she had cancer. And so, I have been there when your life is just crumbled. So, I could empathize better with the patient and the caregivers in the room. So I think it makes me a better care provider. Um, and it also makes me stronger, for my kids. Um, I think that uh, I I think about my mom a lot and how she didn't get to finish her journey. And so I think about like what kind of mom I want to be to my kids now, and in the future, and what kind of relationship I want to have and how I want to continue my journey with them.
Yeah, I get that. Can you tell me what helped you survive your experience, like during going through it? What got you through like the toughest moments in each day?
Yeah, I mean, I'm very open that I sought out therapy after my mom passed. Yeah, definitely used my tools. Um, so I definitely so one part of my journey is that my mother raised me Roman Catholic, and my mom was very Catholic. And when she passed, it was very jarring for me to have lost her because she was so religious. And I had a lot of trouble um, reconciling, how God could have done that, how God could have had that hand in that. And I know that, cancer doesn't, God doesn't give people cancer, but it was very difficult. It was difficult to reconcile. And one of the things that really helped me was I have actually become Buddhist. I have taken a personal journey. It's taken 9 years. and I've done it very slowly, but I have become a practicing Buddhist, and I have found something in Buddhism that hadn't found in Catholicism after my mom had passed. And so I have an altar. I have a number of altars in my home. I meditate daily. I make offerings to Buddha. I have traveled to Nepal to to give, you know, offerings. Yeah, so it's very it's a very important part of my my being now to be Buddhist. And so, and I also feel like, you know, there are like Buddhist tenets that I use at work as well, you know, to help my patients, and it helps me be a better care provider as well, that I'm a Buddhist.
Yeah, I love that. I think, you know, extreme moments in my life of rebirth came with a rebirth in my spirituality. So I definitely resonate with that and understand like how, you know, moments like that can push you into having to take a look at what your beliefs are spiritually.
I love that. I think, yeah, I think it does. I think, you know, I like what you just said there. You know, extreme moments force you to look at what you believe, and it did. It really did. And um I found what I was looking for in Buddhism, and it's made me very comfortable with um, where I am right now. I'm starting with a Buddhist coach actually next month, to dive even deeper into my Buddhist beliefs and practices, because I want to learn more and practice deeper. Um, and But it's, you know, it's a journey, it's a process. You know, I was a Catholic for 30 years, so I want to be a Buddhist for 30 years. So we'll see what, you know, what the next steps are.
I think I think the spirituality is evolutionary for sure, and that
Yeah.
grow. I think there's certain, you know, religions and practices and things like that are good for certain versions of us. And as we morph and change into different versions of us, now we might, you know, grow out of the other thing, or the new version of us needs like a different type of practice.
I love that.
I think it's so normal, and it's something that we don't embrace openly enough as people. You know, it's like we get raised in one type of religion and we think that we have to stay there forever,
Hmm.
or that you've failed at your religion or something like that, instead of that you've transcended into something else. So I just love that. Like, that's a huge shift. Those are like almost polar opposite like religions. So I just love that, you know, you've had that experience. Um, so my next question was to talk about the spiritual part of your recovery, but you definitely
Yeah.
already. Do you feel like what do you feel like you're still working on? What do you feel like that you've overcame?
Hmm. Yeah, I think I'm probably still working on my anger when it comes to, you know, I just changes. You know, they always say that you're supposed to let go. Like the best thing that you're supposed to do for yourself is to let go of the vision of the life that you had for yourself, and you're supposed to just embrace what's in front of you. You know, it's, you know, whether it's the career that you set out to have when you were 18 years old and you start in college, you know, when they asked you what you wanted to be when you grow up, or whether it's the sport that you thought that your child would play when they placed the baby in your arms, you know. And you know, you always have an expectation of something, you have a thought about something, and then it always turns out to be completely different than what it is, and you just have to roll with it. So it's I thought that I would be an FBI agent. I thought that I would still have my mother. I thought that, a lot of things. So I love my life. I'm embracing my new career. I love my husband. My kids are amazing. I, you know, I'm very blessed. I am absolutely blessed. But there are things that I would change, and there are things that the road less traveled, or the road not traveled. I do think about that. And so I think that's something that it's hard to let go of.
I love that. The best thing that you can do is let go of the vision you had for yourself.
Yeah. Yeah. Because life happens. Life happens to everybody. And you're never going to be 100% of what you think you're going to do. I mean, one of my best friends was on a pre-med path. I mean, from the minute she got into elementary school, all throughout college, and it just didn't work out. She did not go to med school. And she still talks about how she could have been a doctor. And I think it's a huge disappointment for her. And uh it's we're in our 40s. We all need to get over it.
I write that down too, because I write down things like as I go that are going to be like the titles. I think like I could go on some big giant rabbit hole tangent right now about the education system and how it's designed to make us have to feel like we need to know our whole life future when
Right.
like it's not like that. It's not like that at all.
Right. Look at me. Like I picked a career at 18. I went full force into it. I got shut down at 22, and I pivoted and really kind of lost my footing. And then I found a new career, and I did that for 9 years. And now I have another career, a completely different career, in my 40s. So, it's never too late to change your mind.
It never is too late to change your mind. But yeah, I think that like our education system needs to be built in a way that is like conducive to shifting, right? Like that you don't spend 4 years doing something, 4 years, 8 years, and now you're in debt with this piece of paper that only says you can do this one thing. And now you realize that's not my passion at all. Like, I think they should be more fluid. You know what I mean?
Right. That's why I like the liberal arts schools, because they do expose you to a lot of things. You have to take religion, you have to take philosophy, you have to take history. You may want to major in business, but you have to take all these other things. And so you're exposed to all this other stuff. So maybe you might discover that your passion is 20th century English literature, in the middle of all of this. And so my kiddo is headed, actually, ironically enough, wants to be an FBI agent, and wants to be an FBI profiler, but wants to minor in classicism and teach Greek mythology. Like that is like also their other passion. Loves the story of Greek and Roman gods, and it geeks out on that stuff. And so I was like, it's two very different careers, but go for it, kiddo. Like I love that.
Love it. And that's I think the power of like being able to meld together all the different things that make up who you are into one powerful force that is what you do.
Mm-hmm. Because we're not one thing.
We're not.
And I love that, all the things that you are. I practice yoga, I paddleboard, I I'm an EMT, I'm a mom, I run a home organizing business. Like, I am so not one thing.
None of us are. And the fact that we get kind of directed in this way as young children to figure out the one thing that you want to be able to do for the rest of your life, like, it's just insanity. Like, nobody wants to do one thing forever. We're all multi-talented, multifaceted beings.
Right. Exactly.
Well, I love that your kid is like embracing everything about him.
Yeah, it's a whole lot of like crime scene investigation shows that they love to watch, and so now they think they're going to be an FBI profiler. So we'll see what happens.
So to talk about, it sounds like you're a really great support for your son, that you just like encourage him to do all the things that he wants to do, however he wants to do them. Can you talk about who is a good support for you along your journey and how they maybe supported you?
So it's actually so my kiddo was born a female, and they are non-binary now, so they don't identify with a gender, and so they use they them pronouns. So who was supportive for me? It was my mom, absolutely. My dad passed away when I was 12, and after a long illness, and my mom was a single mom, and it could have been a really difficult childhood of want, and it wasn't. Like, she really made it she worked very hard, but she never made it seem like we were wanting for anything. And my brother and I had everything we needed. We went on family vacations, and we got to go on school trips and things like that. And so we did what we needed to do, and she really supported us in everything we needed to do. And I think it probably scared the bejesus out of her that I wanted to major in anti-terrorism in college, and and everything. But off she sent me to Buffalo, New York, to the school that offered that training, and she supported me in that endeavor. So
Awesome. So it's pretty easy to tell where you had that example from to know how to be how you are with your kid, huh?
Yeah, my mom was a really good mom.
One thing I love is like quotes and sayings and mantras and mottos that you can kind of grab a hold of and use in those times where you need them the most. Can you talk about, do you have any prayers or mantras or quotes that are like super meaningful to you?
So I have probably two come to mind. Especially with my kiddo being LGBTQ, I definitely use the quote, "Be kind." Like that. If you can be anything in this world, be kind. I think that that's something that we don't have enough of in this world. And I think that kindness towards each other, inclusion of each other, is definitely something that we should strive towards. And then, so I have a practice that I do. So I get up really early in the morning because of work. I get up at 5:30 in the morning, and I'm at the hospital by 6:30. And so I don't have time to meditate in the morning. So when I get to the hospital, there's this stretch that I walk that's long, and I don't have to really focus on where I'm walking. And it's quiet. So I do a walking meditation. And so with every step, I say, just this. Just this. That's my mantra. And I've had that mantra for a long time. And it helps me focus for the day. And it just kind of reminds me that, like, I'm here, I've arrived, and I can just focus on this. I can put away whatever else is going on and focus on my patients or focus on my breath or focus on whatever I need to focus on, and just remember it's just this. That's what I
Love that. And I'm probably going to adopt it.
so yeah, so it's like inhale just, exhale this. That's what I try to do. Or a walking meditation, it's like step 1 just, step 2 this. So you can walk and meditate. You don't have to close your eyes.
Yeah, I always repeat like, well, I'm right here, right now. And it's so simple, but it just encapsulates like everything that is, the whole power of the now kind of thing. Love it.
Right. Yeah. I spent a lot of time looking for a good mantra, and I came up with a lot of them, and I was, I sought out some advice, and, people were like, oh, you can't use negative mantras, because I was like, I would come up with mantras that said, I am not, or, something like that. And you shouldn't say stuff like that in your mantras. And, I finally found this mantra, just this, and it has been very powerful for me.
It is powerful. I love short, but powerful statements like that.
Yeah. And you can do it with your breath. You can do it with a step. It's great.
Beautiful. Okay. So if you had to give one piece of advice to someone going through your exact same situations that you have been in, you can only tell them one thing, what would it be?
Keep going. Just, find somebody who has been there before you, take good advice, keep going. I love that saying, like, tie a knot in your rope, and like when you're at the end of your rope, tie a knot and hold on. I love that saying. And I think, that's when you're at your darkest, just tie a knot and hold on. You don't give up. Just keep going. Take a baby step. It's a step.
Love it. So tell us where you're going from here.
So I have decided to challenge myself. Part of my job is to do blood draws at work, and I am not 100% comfortable doing it. It's hard and scary, and I don't like it. And so I've decided to challenge myself and go get certified in phlebotomy.
Yeah.
So I, take the thing that I'm not very good at and become certified in it. And so that's my plan. I'm going to spend the next, however long the program is, 8 weeks, 12 weeks, and go get certified in that so that I can be better at it. And then my eventual goal with all of this trauma work is to do volunteer work, international volunteer work, so that I can get involved with an organization like Doctors Without Borders and go and volunteer my services for people who in war ravaged areas, or people who are, traveling and are fleeing their countries or something like that, and need help, and need medical attention. That's my ultimate goal, is to use my medical skills that way. So I just broke that to my husband, and he's like, so I'm never going to see you again, am I? I'm like, nope, I'm off. See you later.
Amazing goal, and it sounds like you're going to help a lot of people.
That's my ultimate goal, to spend some years doing it at the hospital and then go off internationally and volunteer.
So now here's your time for shout outs. If you want to say hi to anybody, if you want to shout out your business, tell all the people where to go if they want to find you, if they want to hire you to organize their home.
Oh, thank you. Well, yeah. So in addition to being a person who works at the hospital, I'm Yeah, trauma specialist. I work own a company called Bliss This House. So if you're interested in finding me on Instagram, it's blissthishouse_CT. I'm also on Facebook, Bliss This House CT. And I give tips and tricks pretty much every day on how to organize your home. I do virtual consultations. So if you want to hire me to organize your home virtually, so I can do an hour or 2 hours, I can work with you over the computer. So I have clients all over the country. I can work with you. I've worked with people in Virginia, New York, through the pandemic. I'm great in person, but I can also do it virtually. It's a skill that I've been able to build up during the pandemic. So, if you want to tackle your closet, your kitchen, whatever you want to tackle, I'm here for you. So, I think working in the medical field and being a home organizer, I think you can pretty much tell I'm a type A personality. I like things in a certain place. So, I think it's definitely fun to work with me. I think that you'll get a chance to see my personality and my style if you take a look at my Instagram. So I hope you'll check me out.
Awesome. And then so you guys, everything that um all the places she just told you to go will be listed in the description part of this podcast. I want to thank you for being here. This has been amazing. Miss Maria Grove, nice to meet you. Thank you for coming.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. What a great interview. And yeah, thanks for letting me reveal some of my deepest, darkest secrets. That was really crazy.
Today, it's always a deep dive when we go on from rock bottom to badass. So I appreciate your time, and I hope that we get to hang out again.
All right. Thank you so much.